Hello and welcome back to the Next Step Help YouTube channel, where we help young men take the next steps to achieving their dream lives. Today, I'm going to be talking about how you can beat your social anxiety. So first of all, we've got to define what social anxiety is. Social anxiety is having anxiety in a social situation. Surprise, who'd have thought that? So we've got to define what anxiety is. Anxiety can be summarized into overthinking what other people think about you. The reason you have anxiety is that you're in a situation that is too challenging for your current skills and ability. Put nicely, it's effectively a beginner and you're playing against experts or in an expert position. And of course, you're out of your depth, you're not comfortable there, and your mind keeps racing about all these different things causing anxiety. So, what the hell can we do to beat this? The number one thing we can do to beat this is to increase your skills so that you're no longer out of depth in a certain situation. To do this, we need to focus on improving our social skills, given that we're anxious in social situations. The key thing to remember here is the idea that social skills is a skill. It's something that can be worked upon and improved through time and conscious practice. The way that I'm going to recommend for you to improve your social skills is to start cold approaching people. This is when you go up to a random stranger on the street and you introduce yourself when you start having a conversation. Of course, when you start, this is going to be terrifying. You're going to be so out of your depth that you're going to be in that anxious place again. But we need to make this as simple as possible so that you can build up your skill, your experience in this area. Start off by just saying hello, good morning, good afternoon. When you're out and about and you see someone outside, you're just walking past them, you go hello or good morning, that sort of thing. Number two is you can ask for the time. This is slightly more challenging, but it's still in the relatively easy area as you're just opening them. So asking for the time and then you're ejecting. Once they've told you the time, you just leave, you say thank you, that's it. Building on this, you can also ask for directions. So, hey mate, do you know where X is? Do you know where the library is? I'll tell you it and then you can say thank you and leave once again. As you're doing this, you're going to build up your experience and your social confidence. You're getting more comfortable with going in and talking to random people. As you do this, you're building your social skills. This means that certain situations that may used to have been intimidating, causing anxiety, are no longer as challenging as they were, and therefore you can feel more comfortable. Eventually, you can use these openers, saying hello, what's the time, and get into a bigger conversation. It's a lovely day, what dog do you have? Oh, what's its breed? Oh, is he potty trained? Or something along those lines where you just start having a bit of a dialogue. From here, you're building your social confidence as you can go up and talk to random people about stuff in the street normally. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of how you should approach people. The first thing you should do is you should smile at them. So when you smile and they smile back, it's usually safe to approach them. If they lock eyes and they smile, it's good to go in and have a conversation. Or just say hi, something along those lines. Ideally, we want to get to the point where we can start cold approaching people who aren't even looking at us. They haven't made eye contact. They don't even know we're trying to talk to them. In this scenario, what you do is say they're in front of you and they haven't made eye contact or they're looking away or something like that. What you do is you put your hand up, you raise your voice 2 to 3 times louder and you say hello or something about what they're wearing or the weather or something like that. You keep speaking until they turn around and realize that you're chatting to them. From here, you can just go into your normal conversations, the skills and abilities that you've already built up, like good morning, do you know where this is, that sort of thing. And this just flows into bigger conversations. There are a couple of mindsets which you can adopt which will help you find this easier and more effective in your daily life. The first one is the beginner mindset, understanding, and I've touched upon this before, it's understanding that social skills is a skill, it's something that can be worked upon and improved through time and practice. It's quite hard to do this. You need to have quite a lot of humility to understand that you're pretty crap where you are right now. You haven't got a lot of experience and therefore you can't expect to be really good. You need to start off by doing the most basic things, such as saying hello, how are you doing, lovely day, that sort of thing. Starting off with the basic phrases so that you can build your confidence up slowly. The second mindset is that everyone is a friend until proven otherwise. One of the big things that comes in social skills and cold approach is the idea that the fear of rejection. That you fear that they're going to, think you're weird, look at you and say horrible things back to you or just ignore you. You've got to understand that most people are friendly and want to have a chat. In today's age, we're so isolated and lonely that having a chat with anyone is actually a really nice thing to do. And as you go through this and you practice it day in, day out, and you start to get more socially confident, you understand that most people are happy to have a conversation. especially old people, who are some of the easiest people to cold approach as they're happy to speak to anyone. Another mindset is the idea that you aren't weird for going and approaching. They're the weird ones. If you come up to them and you start introducing yourself and having a conversation, and they're looking at you like, ugh, what's this person doing? That's really weird. They're the weird ones. How weird is it if someone comes up to you, starts speaking to you, and instead of engaging in a conversation like, normal people did, how we used to interact years ago, they think that you're weird for trying to interact with them, then that is the weirdest thing possible. They've decided that they're going to sit in a paradigm which is, if someone comes and approaches me and starts trying to chat to me, I'm not going to reciprocate that. I'm not going to do the natural biological thing of reciprocating a conversation and interacting. That is the weirdest thing possible. So you aren't weird, it's they are. The final thing is that everyone is thinking about their own insecurities. No one is thinking about your insecurities, your nose, your ears, stuff like that, stuff that you're worried about other people thinking. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about their own insecurities. From here, it makes it way easier to understand that no one's judging you like you are. And as you go through and you improve your social confidence, it'll improve your self-esteem. And from here, it'll make it easier to socially interact and cold approach people without any fear of rejection or thinking that they're thinking certain things about you, because they're not. The final thing that I want to touch upon is there are multiple ways of doing this. The way that I'd recommend is that you start introducing it into your lifestyle. This doesn't mean I'm going to set aside an hour every day to go out and introduce myself to random people in the street. While this can be an effective strategy of doing it, what I'd recommend is you start living more of your life outside. You stop indulging in those instant gratification activities and you start pushing for more delayed gratification activity that you do outside. From here, you're more likely to see people outside, and from there you can introduce yourself, say hello, talk about their dog that they're walking, something along those lines, and just get into a normal conversation that way. There are many reasons for doing this, and one of them is through the social confidence that you're going to build, and you're going to get less social anxiety and more self-confidence through doing it. This is important as it means your social skills will improve so you can have better interactions with people outside and in day-to-day life. And for many of you, I'm sure you're interested in picking up women. And getting women is simply a numbers game. The more women you introduce yourself, the higher chance you have of some of them sticking and having a good interaction, and therefore leading on to more things in the future. If you get this cold approach, you can start approaching women in the street and therefore increasing your chances, as opposed to living day-to-day life and hoping that some of them will magically fly on your doorstep, because that happens. Building on the point that they're the weird ones, not you. Rejection is highly, highly unlikely to happen. Nobody's going to not say hello to you or smile to you in the street if you're walking by. If you give them a compliment, of course they're going to say thank you or that's really nice, something along those lines. You're not going to be rejected like that. As you build up your social skills, you're going to understand that this is just natural and you're feeling more confident in this situation. When you start to build this to approaching women, if you go and ask for their numbers and some of the dating stuff like that, you may get rejected, but this is completely fine. And you will be so confident in your social ability that you're going to understand that they're the weird ones. They're missing out on what you've got to give. From here, all I can recommend is just keep doing it. As I said before, it's a numbers game. The more women you approach, the better your chances are going to be at one of them sticking. Thank you very much for watching this video on how to remove your social anxiety. If you've got anything to say about this video, please drop it in the comments as we read these. And check us out at nextstephelp.net if you want one-to-one personalised coaching that will help you take your life to the next step to what you want to achieve